Hello and welcome to today's episode, which deals with the meaning and characteristics of a computer. It will also tell you about the different types and different generations of computers. In addition to this, the lesson also explains the strengths and weaknesses of a computer. I'm Amrita Ghosh Kumar and our subject expert for today's program is Miss Nazia Hussain, teaching in Bangalore University. Today we will take a broad overview of the concept of computer system. A computer is an electronic device that operates under the control of a set of instructions that are stored in its memory unit. A computer accepts data from an input device and processes it into useful information, which it then displays on its output device. A computer is a programmable machine designed to automatically carry out a sequence of arithmetic or logical operations. The particular sequence of operations can be changed readily, allowing the computer to solve more than one kind of problem. An important class of computer operations on some computing platforms is the accepting of input from human operators and the output of results formatted for human consumption. The interface between the computer and the human operator is known as the user interface. Hence, we can say a computer is a multi-purpose programmable electronic machine that accepts raw facts, which may be unorganized, which then it processes and manipulates into meaningful information, which may be used to take decisions. Its purpose is to speed up problem solving and increase productivity. The computer is a device made up of a combination of electronic and electromechanical components. Computer itself has no intelligence and is referred to as hardware. This hardware can't work alone. It needs to be connected with other parts of its system. A computer is used essentially as a data processor. The terms data and information are very commonly used. Meaning of data. Data in computer technology means raw facts and figures. For example, Mohan, 1977, A, 162.19 plus 75.2 are all data. Data are processed to form information. Information. Information means what we get after processing data, that is meaningful data. Data are aggregated and summarized in various meaningful ways to form information. For example, Mohan, whose roll number is 1977, has got grade A is an information as it is conveying some meaning. Therefore, computers can perform complex and repetitive procedures quickly, precisely and reliably. Modern computers are electronic and digital. The actual machinery, that is the wires, the transistors and the circuits, is called hardware. The instructions and data are called software. It refers to a class of programs that organize and manipulate data, usually large amounts of numeric data. Accounting programs are the prototypical examples of data processing applications. The term data processing is used in various different senses. The most common among them are A. Electronic data processing or EDP. It describes all computing activity when data is processed using a computer. B. Automatic data processing or ADP. It distinguishes computer data processing from data processing in which no human intervention is required, but functioning is the same as EDP. C. Business data processing or BDP. This refers to the use of computers in business or administration applications. For example, inventory control, sales forecasting, payroll, etc. D. Scientific data processing or SDP. This refers to the recognition of scientific applications of computers. The main characteristics of a computer are that it is automatic. Computer is said to be automatic because once it starts a job, it will carry on till it is completed without any human intervention. High storage capacity. Computers can store a large amount of information in very small space. A CD-ROM of 4.7-inch diameter can store all the 33 volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica and will still have room to store more information. General purpose. Computers are general purpose machines, which means that a computer is capable of performing any task, provided that the task can be reduced to a series of logical steps. Speed. Computers are much faster as compared to human beings. A computer can perform a task in a minute that may take days if performed manually. A modern computer can execute millions of instructions in 1 second. Accuracy. Computers can perform all calculations and comparisons accurately, provided the hardware does not malfunction. The computer provides very high degree of accuracy. The degree of accuracy of a particular computer depends upon its design and on reliability of input data and program instructions. Reliability. Computers are immune to tiredness and boredom or fatigue. Thus, they are more reliable than human beings. Versatility. Computers can perform repetitive jobs efficiently. They can solve labor problems or do hazardous jobs in hostile environment. They can even work in the areas where human brains can make errors. For instance, observing motion of very fast moving articles, and also can work with different types of data and information like graphics, audiovisual characters, etc. Computer possesses various advantages, but it also possesses certain limitations which cannot be ignored. These are garbage in, garbage out, GIGO. Computer lacks common sense and IQ. Thus, incorrect input would lead to incorrect output result. Second, software limitation. To do specialized tasks, special purpose software are required, which becomes very costly. Third, hardware limitations. Some of the application requires greater speed and storage, which leads to more investment. 4. Data tampering. Data handling through computers is prone to the loss of information and being tampered. Thus, it requires special protection routines. Information can be stored and processed in a number of ways. The computers have been classified into 3 categories. These are 1. Digital computers, 2. Analog computers, and 3. Hybrid computers. Now, the digital computer refers to a computer which represents the data, whether numbers, letters or symbols, in binary form, and they work with numbers in the form of separate discrete digits. The first electronic digital computers were developed in the mid-20th century, between 1940 and 1945. Originally, they were the size of a large room, consuming as much power as several hundred personal computers or modern PCs. The digital computers can work upon discontinuous data. They convert the data into digits, binary digits 0 and 1. And all operations are carried out on these digits at extremely fast rates. A digital computer basically knows how to count the digits and add the digits. Computers used for business and scientific applications are digital computers. Digital computers are much faster than analog computers and far more accurate. Digital computers can further be classified into 2 ways. 1. Purpose-wise. Second, size and performance-wise. Purpose-wise digital computers are classified into 2 types. special purpose computers is one that is designed to perform a specific task. The instructions or programs to carry out the task are permanently stored in the machine. For the specific task, this type of computer works efficiently, but such computers are not versatile. General purpose computers is the one that can work on different types of program input to it, and thus be used in countless applications. The programs are not permanently stored but are input at the time of execution. These computers are very versatile. Size and performance-wise, digital computers can be classified into following types. 1. Embedded computers. Computers exist in a wide range of sizes and powers. The smallest are embedded within the circuitry of appliances such as televisions, washing machine and wristwatches. Second, microcomputers. A microcomputer is a computer whose CPU is microprocessor. A microprocessor is a processor whose all components are on a single integrated circuit chip. Those are normally single microprocessor, single user systems designed for performing basic operations like educational, training, small business applications, playing games, etc. These are mainly used in offices, homes, schools, shops, stores and such places. 3 major categories at microcomputers. 1. PDAs. It is a personal digital assistant, a handheld device that combines computing, telephone or fax and networking features. A typical PDA can function as a cellular phone, fax sender and personal organizer. Unlike portable computers, most PDAs are pen-based, using a stylus rather than a keyboard for input. This means that they also incorporate handwriting recognition features. Some PDAs can also react to voice input by using voice recognition technologies. Second, desktop computers. A computer designed to fit comfortably on top of a desk, typically with the monitor sitting on top of the computer. Desktop model computers are broad and low, whereas tower model computers are narrow and tall. Because of their shape, desktop model computers are generally limited to 3 internal mass storage devices. Desktop models are designed to be very small, are sometimes referred to as slimline models. Workstations. It is a type of computer used for engineering applications. CAD or CAM, desktop publishing, software development and other types of applications that require a moderate amount of computing power and relatively high quality graphic capabilities. Workstations generally come with a large, high resolution graphic screen and large amounts of RAM, built-in network support, and a graphical user interface. Most workstations also have a mass storage device such as a disk drive, but a special type of workstation called a diskless workstation comes without a disk drive. The most common operating systems for workstations are Unix and Windows NT. Like personal computers, most workstations are single-user computers. However, workstations are typically linked together to form a local area network, although they can also be used as standalone systems. Third, mini-computers. Mini-computers, also called mid-range servers, are more powerful computers than microcomputers in terms of processing power and capabilities. Mini-computers are mainly multi-user systems where many users simultaneously work on the system. Mini-computers possess greater storage capacity and larger memories as compared to microcomputers. These are even capable of handling more input-output devices. In the past decade, the distinction between large mini-computers and small mainframes has blurred. However, as has the distinction between small mini-computers and workstations. But in general, a mini computer is a multi-processing system capable of supporting from up to 200 users simultaneously. 4. Mainframe computers. Mainframe computers are designed to handle huge volumes of data and information. In some ways, mainframes are more powerful than supercomputers because they support more simultaneous programs. But supercomputers can execute a single program faster than a mainframe. The distinction between small mainframes and mini computers is vague, depending really on how the manufacturer wants to market its machines. These can support more than 100 users at the same time. These very large and expensive computers have great processing speed and very large storage capacity and memory as compared to mini computers. These computers even possess and work with more than one processor at the same time. Thus, one can say these are multi-user, multi-processor systems. 5. Supercomputers. Supercomputers are the most powerful computers among digital computers. Supercomputer is a broad term for one of the fastest computers currently available. Supercomputers are very expensive and are employed for specialized applications that require immense amounts of mathematical calculations or number crunching. For example, weather forecasting requires a supercomputer. An analog computer is a form of that computer which uses the continuously changeable aspects of physical phenomena such as electrical, mechanical or hydraulic quantities to model the problem being solved. In contrast, digital computers represent varying quantities incrementally as their numerical values change. Analog computer is a computer which deals with a model of the problem, in which the variables are represented by continuous physical quantities such as angular position, temperature and voltage. Thus, we can say the thermometer and slide rule are also analog devices. Analog computers often have a complicated framework, but they have at their core a set of key components which perform the calculations, which the operator manipulates through the computer's framework. Analog computers tend to be special purpose machines designed for some scientific or technical applications. As analog information is mechanical, it possesses limited accuracy. There are electronic analog computers generally in chemical plants, monitoring temperatures, pressures, voltages, etc. Hybrid computer refers to computer that contains both digital and analog circuit. Hybrid computers are computers that exhibit features of analog and digital computers. There are some computers which employ both digital as well as analog quantities. These are known as hybrid computers. Hybrid computers are the computers that are generally used in process control environment, where an analog input provided to a computer is being processed digitally and it presents the output in analog or digital form as required. Hybrid computers are computers that are designed to provide functions and features that are found with both analog computers and digital computers. The idea behind this combined or hybrid computer model is to create a working unit that offers the best of both types of computers. Each generation of computer is characterized by a major technological development that fundamentally changed the way computers operate, resulting in increasingly smaller, cheaper, more powerful and more efficient and reliable devices. Each generation of computer is characterized by a major technological development that fundamentally changed the way computers operate, resulting in increasingly smaller, cheaper, more powerful and more efficient and reliable devices. The first computers used vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic drums for memory and were often enormous, taking up entire rooms. They were very expensive to operate and in addition to using a great deal of electricity, generated a lot of heat, which was often the cause of malfunctions. First generation computers relied on machine language, the lowest level programming language understood by computers, to perform operations, and they could only solve one problem at a time. Input was based on punched cards and paper tape, and output was displayed on printouts. Characteristics of first generation computers. The first generation computers were having following characteristics, such as vacuum tubes were the only electronic components available during those days. Vacuum tube technology made possible the advent of electronic digital computers. These computers were the fastest calculating devices for the time. They could perform computations in milliseconds. Transistors replaced vacuum tubes and ushered in the second generation of computers. The transistor was far superior to the vacuum tube, allowing computers to become smaller, faster, cheaper, more energy efficient, and more reliable than their first generation predecessors. Though the transistor still generated a great deal of heat that subjected the computer to damage, it was a vast improvement over the vacuum tube. Second generation computers still relied on punched cards for input and printouts for output. Second generation computers moved from cryptic binary machine language to symbolic or assembly languages, which allowed programmers to specify instructions in words. High-level programming languages were also being developed at this time, such as early versions of COBOL and Fortran. These were also the first computers that stored their instructions in their memory, which moved from a magnetic drum to a magnetic core technology. The first computers of this generation were developed for the atomic energy industry. Characteristics of second generation computer. The mainframe features of second generation computers are as follows. The computation speed of these computers was faster than first generation computers. Thus, computation time was reduced from millisecond to microsecond. The size of second generation computers was smaller than first generation computers, thus required smaller space for installations. The development of the integrated circuit was the hallmark of the third generation of computers. Instead of punched cards and printouts, users interacted with third generation computers through keyboards and monitors, and interfaced with an operating system which allowed the device to run many different applications at one time with a central program that monitored the memory. Computers for the first time became accessible to a mass audience because they were smaller and cheaper than their predecessors. Characteristics of third generation computer. These computers were smaller in size as compared to the first generation computers, therefore easily portable and required lesser space for installations. These computers were able to reduce computational times from milliseconds to nanoseconds. The microprocessors brought the fourth generation of computers as thousands of integrated circuits were built onto a single silicon chip. In 1981, IBM introduced its first computer for the home user, and in 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh. Microprocessors also moved out of the realm of desktop computers and into many areas of life as more and more everyday products began to use microprocessors. As these small computers became more powerful, they could be linked together to form networks, which eventually led to the development of the Internet. Fourth generation computers also saw the development of GUIs, the mouse and handheld devices. Characteristics of fourth generation computers. The PCs were the most important achievement among all other computers during fourth generation period. However, highly sophisticated technology was required for the manufacture of LSI chips. PCs were smallest in size because of high component density and powerful in computing capability. The main features supported by fifth generation computers are: voice recognition will likely to be a primary means of input. Computers may be constructed differently than they are today. The size of personal computers will continue to be small and will have the features of parallel processing. More complex problems can be solved which were not possible to solve earlier. An information system, or IS, is a formalized computer information system that can collect, store, process and report data from various sources to provide the information necessary for managerial decision making. Information systems are concerned with a much broader domain of interest than purely computerized application of information technology. Information systems incorporates information technology but is also concerned with information and organizational activities. Informational system is a system that handles the flow and maintenance of information which supports the business operation. The components of information systems are people, equipment, procedures and data. Information systems are used by organizations for different purposes. The functions of informational system. Information systems serve 4 major organizational levels. 1. Operational level. Operational level information system support operational employees and managers by keeping track of the elementary activities and transactions of the organization, such as billing, sales, receipts, payroll, credit decisions, the flow of materials and inventory stock. Knowledge level. Knowledge level information systems support knowledge and data workers in an organization. Information systems at this level are designed to help the business firm organize, discover and integrate new knowledge into the business and to help the organization control the flow of paperwork. Management level. At the executive level of the organization, top managers focus on long-term strategies, issues facing the organization. Managers at this level include the President and Chief Executive Officer, Vice Presidents and other senior managers. Strategic level. Strategic level information system helps senior management tackle and address strategic issues and long-term trends, both in the organization and from the external environment. Information system can be categorized into 2, which is manually and automatically, or also known as computer-based information system, that is CBIS. Before we are using CBIS, all the data is done manually, where all the information is written and stored in a different file. Sometimes this process is called non-computerized system. Non-computerized is not efficient because it consumes a lot of time to find and modify the information. So to eliminate this problem, a new system is created which is known as the computerized system or the CBIS. That is all for today. Hope you have understood the concept of computer system. We'll see you again with another topic on computer. Till then, take care and bye-bye.